That's good. Well, I think we're live now, right? Hello, I'm Ray Waddell, and welcome to the latest edition of Pollstar Live One-on-One, our ongoing streaming Q&A series. And today, I'm really happy to be here with legendary singer-songwriter guitarist Patterson Hood, co-founder of one of the all-time great live rock and roll bands, the Drive-By Truckers, as well as an accomplished solo artist. Well, whatever happened, I'm back now, and that was bizarre, but such is life. You ever had your power go out at a show?
Yes, I have. We did a show one night in Little Rock, Arkansas, and the power went off, and I guess they figured it wasn't going to come back on. They ran a few extension cords from like a building next door or something over enough to basically turn on like two lights, and we basically performed acoustic for the audience until they got power back on. I'm not sure if it ever came on or not. I can't remember now. I know we played for a while just acoustic, and people still talk about that night in Little Rock.
Well, that's kind of what happened to me. And nobody has any idea how fast I was actually moving during that time frame. So, when was your last live show? I've got on my record Lexington, Kentucky on April 23rd. Was that it?
No, we didn't. All our April shows and March shows all got canceled. The last show that we actually played was Washington, D.C. at the 930 Club. When was that? That was like, it was either I think it was the 29th of February or March 1st. It was one of those two, and whatever the Saturday was. And then I flew to Mobile and did a solo thing with my friend Will Johnson down there in Mobile, and then came home. And then a week later, I flew out to Indianapolis to start the next leg of the tour, and we got as far as 2 songs into sound check when it all got canceled. And we sound checked, then loaded the bus back up and loaded the trailer, and I hitched a ride back to Atlanta and flew home, and I've been here at my house ever since.
So the shutdown occurred to you right before a show? You were already there and told?
We were there. We were all set up. We were sound checking, and by the time we got to Indianapolis, most of the tour had already been canceled. But the plan was to play the 3 shows that weekend, which would have been Indianapolis, Chicago, and St. Paul, and then call it. And I mean, honestly, it's for the better that we called it quicker, because it would have been awful if someone had gotten sick because of one of those shows or something. So I'm thankful it was a bummer going all the way there and setting it up. And but it's not like anyone has a playbook on how to tour in a pandemic. We were all just and information kept changing, and we were trying to make the best. We were trying to do the best we could, and
Sure.
And it's the whole thing's just been a nightmare.
Well, let it be known that you were at that show, and were prepared to play had it been able to come off.
It's funny.
For the record.
It's funny. After we loaded the trailer back up, we had a few hours because we had to wait for the bus driver to, get his required nap time before he drove us back to Georgia. And so we walked down the street and ate at some chicken place down the street. And we were walking back, and we ran into a bunch of fans, and they had driven like several hours to be there. And of course the show got canceled, and and I felt bad for them, and they actually thanked me. And like one of the guys is like, we weren't going to miss the show, but y'all did the right thing. It's if the show had gone on, we weren't going to miss it. But in all honesty, it's good that we're not going in there and doing it. And I just like it. It was really kind of moved me that they said that, and it kind of made me think about it in a different way too. Because I'll be totally honest, I was doing a lot of kind of grumbling and feeling sorry for myself in the midst of all of that. And And so to have somebody who had, literally, driven 3 hours each way to come to a show that got canceled, thank me for canceling the show, kind of hit home.
I think what I take away from that is they would have gone. And what I've said a lot of times, I think if we put shows on, the hardcore fans would go. They'd walk in a burning building to see. I mean, you guys have fans that wear Pampers or whatever, so they don't have to go to the bathroom during a show.
I hope they don't do that anymore.
Am I wrong? I
know what you're talking about, but yeah.
So I mean, they would.
In the movie.
The point being, they would risk it.
Yeah.
But and a lot of hardcore fans were, especially for some pop acts and just any kind of hardcore fan. That's what's so great about this business is they're devoted, to the not just to listen to the band, but to be in the room. When it's going down, that's the magic. So I think the industry has a bit of a responsibility, and we'll get into all that as we go a little further. But I first came across you guys on from Alabama Ass Whooping. That was the first album I heard. Was around 99 or 2000, which fittingly was a live album early in the third. It was like your third record. But,
yeah.
It makes sense that your first one I heard was a live record, because to me, you guys are the quintessential live rock and roll band. And ever since then, I've caught every show I could and became a real fan. But the whole Drive-By Truckers thing is this being in a group, large, hot, sweaty show, jammed into the venue, GA a lot of times, and it's a true communal experience. So I think that's critical to what you guys are.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's, part of why this has been such a kind of depressing thing on a really personal level to me, is because we are quintessentially everything that is not allowed now. And when I say not allowed, I don't mean that in the government keeping me from doing it kind of bullshit way. I mean it, public health. We really literally can't do what we do. And I'm terrified of the thought of it. I mean, I guess it will come back, but I don't know how long it'll be. We're for us to do what we really do, it's going to be a long time. We're going to be one of the last things able to do what we do. People, they will figure out a way for people to get their haircuts long before they can figure out a way for people to stand shoulder to shoulder in a hot, sweaty room, singing at the top of their lungs with the band on stage, and which is basically what we do for a living. And I think I told you one time what we did for a living was we were in the t-shirt business. I think I told you that one time. It got quoted a bunch, but honestly, we're in the making big burly grown men who look like you and me cry publicly business.
Yeah.
and sing along. People who can't make and people who don't sing well sing along business, and all of those are things that are right now very high risk. And and I would be devastated to think that people came to a drive-by trucker show and got sick because of it. I mean, I wouldn't be able to deal with that or get over that.
Well, let's look at it from it's your livelihood, right? I mean, I think what you said that time, as long as you can't download a t-shirt, you're going to be in good shape, which means we totally didn't foresee this. We thought that you guys and bands like you could go out and do this forever. There's nothing going to really stop it. And we found out that's not true. How do you, what's the whole Drive-By Truckers road group? How many people go out and how many people are impacted just from your business?
Oh God. I mean, there's the five in the band, and we have a six person road crew, uh, front of house monitor, merch, lights, uh, guitar and instrument tech, and uh, did I say monitor? And tour manager, Cole. And so we have that, and then of course, we have management. We have two managers. We have our booking agent. Uh, we have our publicist. And then it starts going out from there. We also have a guy who like runs our office in Athens, and I'm not sure if that's full time. That's probably more part time, but it's a paycheck that I know he needs, and he's got a baby on the way, and we've got a person who does our social media, a person who keeps our website and handles all of that. I'm sure I'm going to leave out
Well, I mean,
the people.
point
It
being,
starts adding up. Yeah.
the ripple effect of not working goes from that attic out in a long,
Yeah.
big effect from that. And
Yeah. I mean, everyone in the band has
sure.
kids. Everyone in the band has kids. Everyone has families. And I mean, we need this to survive, and it's gone. I mean, it's gone for longer than really anybody's wanting to say out loud. I mean, right now there's dates on the book for this fall, but I'll bet anybody $100 right now that we won't do a single one of them. I'll be amazed if we play them. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. I don't know, but I'll be amazed.
You got opinion. You can have an opinion. You can have an opinion about it. You were supposed to go to the UK and Europe, right?
Yep. I'd be packing this week. I'd be starting to get packed and get my act together for that trip. We were excited about our Europe tour. This band has had a long, kind of brutal history with Europe that in the last couple of records has really turned around. And our last couple of tours over there have been really successful. The last one, I think every show sold out. I'm not sure if London sold out, but London was in like one of the biggest rooms we've ever headlined. And if it wasn't sold out, it was close enough for rock and roll. I mean, we pulled over 3,000 people in London last time. And so this tour was like, this record's already had done better in Europe than anything we've ever put out, the new one, Unraveling. And so this tour was going to be kind of us going and finally really feel like we're doing what we've been trying to do for so long over there. And I mean, even Cooley was excited about going. And
wow.
And so we were all really fired up about it. And it's right now it's, I think, going to be on the books for maybe doing it next year. And but who knows? I sure hope so.
Well, that's kind of the textbook way, though, to break and become viable in the UK and in Europe is to invest and commit to it and go back.
Yeah.
Not doing well, and finally you were positioned to reap the rewards of that and know you're going to do well. Because to me, you're the kind of band that would have a long career there once you get established.
For sure. And I mean, I've had a real, from day one in this band, had a real personal investment in my head about playing Europe and about trying to build something over there. And to be honest, it's probably the single biggest frustration in my career has been how long it took to actually have that happen. I mean, we've had sometimes just crazy bad luck. There were some bad decisions on our part, I'm sure, that entered into it a few times, and just fate entered into it, and we finally kept persevering and kept going back to the point to where we overcame all of those things and kind of got it together over there. And so I was really like I said, I mean, I've been excited about this year's Europe tour. You know, we've had it planned for a year, and I've been basically counting down the days, and so I guess I'm going to keep counting.
Yeah, well, for some bands, it never happens for, and they just don't want to. They'd rather tour here and make some money than go over there and lose money. And
For sure.
but I've found that, and I've seen it with everybody from Johnny Cash to Steve Earle, we were talking about earlier, that once they do get some established there, they can go back and really even tour there when maybe they're not doing so well here in America.
Right.
So
well, REM is such a great example. I mean, you know, it took them a little longer to break over there than it did over here, but for the last at least 10 years of their run, you know, they were doing way bigger business over there than they were doing over here. I mean, they were still a huge headlining band all over the world in a bigger way than they were in America for at least the last decade they were a band.
well, looking at your recent success for the last, you know, at least the last 10 years, probably longer, you've been on this really good roll where you can go out and headline, and plus a lot of other opportunities, whether it's the right support or a good festival opportunity. But you can go out and consistently do good business at a lot of different venues and markets, really coast to coast in America. I think a lot of folks may not realize what kind of hit it is for a band like this to all of a sudden have that rug pulled out from under you when there's not a whole lot of other revenue streams out there for bands. Do you think that there's an awareness of what it means to a band like Drive-By Truckers to have their livelihood taken away from them?
I mean, I know a lot of the hardcore fans are certainly aware of it, and a lot have been really supportive. And you know, we put out a single a few weeks ago on Bandcamp, and tied it in with a T-shirt design that we put up and sold, and a live 3 live shows that had never been released that were really recent shows that were recorded at the 40 Watt. And I mean, the response was amazing. You know, I mean, I'm, you know, pretty sure it will really help us with, you know, at least keeping, you know, making payroll for a month or so, and really kind of, you know, keeping things afloat for a bit. And hopefully we can continue to do those kind of things, and hopefully people will continue to kind of support us. You know, I hate being on the end of things. I feel like I got my hand out now, you know,
Yeah.
and I hate that, because I like being on the other end of that spectrum. You know, I love doing benefits and raising money for other people and for causes. And, you know, we have Nucci Space. It's been our pet cause for, you know, over 20 years now. And you know, I'd rather be on that end of the money raising spectrum, and than having to, like, you know, whine about our plight, you know. But
Well,
our
I'll do the
plight
whining.
is serious. Our plight is it's very serious, you know. And I've been, you know, trying to wrap my head around it all since this all happened, and, you know, and come up with ways to keep it going. You know,
Are you finding that there are resources there, and you do have a sympathetic ear out there from the
yeah,
industry, not just the industry, but the government, right? You're a small business.
right. Yeah, we were able to get a small business, one of the is it PPPs or whatever, and you know, we were able to, but and it helps, and it's wonderful, but we're not coming back anytime soon. I mean, it's not, you know, that may get us into the summer, but we're not going back to work in the summer. I mean, I don't know. There may still be shows on the books for this summer, but I'm really skeptical, and I'm really skeptical about shows in the fall, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, until we get it to a point to where there's some way for people to be able to safely get in a room and do that thing, and Lord knows nobody makes mailbox money anymore in the record business unless you're Drake or somebody that's streaming billions of streams. That end of things is, that just doesn't exist anymore for bands like us.
Well, I look at your schedule. There's a show on the books in Missoula, Montana at the Wilma, and then the Fargo Brewing Company in July. Those are on the books. Those are not the most stricken places in the country. I would say they're among the least, and that was probably booked long ago. So what would it take for you to be able to be comfortable playing at the Wilma in Missoula?
God, I mean, I guess for, people who aren't motivated by the pure numbers of it, for people, on the Fauci end of things, not from the other end of things, to say that it's safe. I mean, that would go a long way, but I don't know. I love the Wilma. That's a beautiful theater. I'm just talking about it makes me sad. The thought of not going back to the Wilma. I'm ready to go to the Wilma, and I love Missoula, and so I don't know. I mean, we're Lord knows we're eager to go back to work. We're as eager as we can be, but I don't want to hurt our audience, and or us or our crew, and there are a lot of people who come see our band who, I mean, it's kind of a myth that young people can't get it anyway, but there are people who come see our band who aren't young people too. And so yeah, and I'm no spring chicken myself. Despite my youthful look, I referred to myself as middle-aged the other day in front of a cousin of mine, and she goes, "You sure are an optimist." It's like,
hey, we can go with
that. Are you
that.
planning on living to be 110? It's like,
Why not?
Yeah.
But okay, to play devil's advocate a little bit, would you say? I mean, say if you were the same people every night, you get on a bus, it's a controlled environment. You know that and you're reasonably comfortable that this bus has been sanitized and nobody on the bus is sick, right? You know that before you ever leave. I'm just, again, hypothetical. Then you go to the venue, you get out, and it's everybody that's come to the venue has been screened. Would that be a comfortable? And then you do the show, interact as much from the stage, and then you go back and all of you get back on the bus. Nobody that hasn't been with you the last week on that bus. Would that make you feel safe and secure?
I mean, I think you put your finger on when you said people have been screened. I mean, right now people can't even get tested. There's still people who are wondering if they have it who can't get tested, and so I feel like we're a long way away from the reality of just that part of the equation that you said. I mean, nobody wants to be out playing more than me, and as far as my personal health and safety, my wife may can hear what I'm saying. I got to be careful. I mean,
this is not just me and you.
I mean, like Levon said, I didn't get into this job for my health, and we've been, we built our thing out there touring in vans and sleeping on people's floors and doing crazy all-nighter drives under horrific conditions. Granted, we didn't have kids at home back then, and so I'm probably more willing to be cavalier with my own health and safety than probably people in my family are comfortable with hearing me say, but I'm not willing to be cavalier about the people who love our band enough to go see it and stand there. And I'm just trying to think of a scenario. How many, how spread out can they allow the audiences to be and still make enough, have it be not completely a thing where it loses a ton of money for the Wilma, a place like the Wilma, which I guess seats what, 1,500 maybe, I'm guessing. What would they do? Have 400 people spread out over there? Would that be apart enough? I don't know. I mean, these are all interesting questions that people who are smarter than me, I hope, are working on trying to figure out. But I know that when the powers that be and when our management and agents and everybody are able to assure us that it's going to be okay to go out and do it, there's nobody on earth more eager to go out and do it than us, but I just don't want to, I don't want to hurt anybody in the process.
Well, that's admirable, and I give you a lot of credit for that, especially knowing the kind of scenario that you're in. Again, it's like it's no different from the bricklayer who can't lay bricks or anybody else trying to do what they do. And it seems like a lot of attention has been focused on, the airlines and the hotels, and I know they're hurt, but
Sure.
Nobody is more impacted, I believe, than our business, the live business, the gather. It's all about gathering.
Yeah.
Right? And that, so we're talking about every kind of scenario and possible way to get around this. And so we're throwing a lot of, as the industry as a whole is throwing a lot of possibilities. Have you considered, or has anybody talked to you about maybe the drive-in show kind of scenario? Or
yeah, I mean, I'm game. I'll do it. I'll go play a drive-in. Shit, yeah. We've talked about doing like some kind of a pay-per-view kind of thing where we set up in an empty club, and once we get it to a point to where we can all at least be together. I mean, right now we're all, I'm on the West Coast, and we've got Cooley's in Birmingham. We're in 4 different cities right now, just the band. But once we get to where we can all be in a room together, which God, hopefully that isn't too far away, for us to, we've been thinking in terms of trying to maybe do some recording, because we've got an album that's about half finished that we would like to finish this year, and maybe do some kind of a pay-per-view, maybe even like a series of shows, and do something like that. And none of that's a substitute for the real, just get in there and do it rock and roll show. I mean, that's and for years I've kind of joked that we were becoming down. We were like the last of the dinosaurs, the bands that did the version of this thing that we do. Kind of like we're kind of becoming dinosaurs, in front of ourselves, and that wasn't even wrapping our head around anything like what's happened now. And the other point that is really important to make with all this too is, especially if this drags out a long time, what will there be to come back to? I mean, the Troubadours having to raise money to survive, the legendary Troubadour, I mean, you think about, the impact that tiny little room has had on popular culture and music over a 50-year period, from Elton John onward, Warren Zevon and all that. In my hometown, the Caledonia, I know has had to do a fundraising in Athens, that's a legendary little room, and then as the rooms get bigger, particularly those that aren't owned by one of the big behemoth corporations. And of course, the big behemoth corporations are struggling too, and so it's a scary scenario. And excuse me.
You okay, man?
Pollen season.
You all
man.
right?
Oh, I'm fine. No, I don't think I've
Bless
got
you.
anything, except for the pollen starting to kick in here. But
I have that.
yeah, so it's so I'm scared of that idea of when we're able to go back on the road, so many of our favorite places just not even being there anymore.
Well, not to mention who's going to go, who's going to be able to afford to go. And here you are in a situation where you need to make as much as you can. And you would conceive that the traffic, the touring traffic would be elevated because all the people that have been off the road all of a sudden can go back, and you got a consumer who has less dollars in their pocket, most likely. Right. So it's not a perfect storm. It's a negative perfect storm to not do well. But I think everybody would take it if it could be done safely at this point.
Yeah.
Did you guys do meet and greets? And I mean, I know I've meet and greeted, but official fan club stuff. And do you think that has a future?
I don't know. It's funny because we've done a little here or there through the years, and we had this meeting last year with our business manager, who basically was, letting us know that we desperately needed more money because, last year the band took our situation is made a little extra precarious by the fact that last year we played less shows than we've played since '97 because we had a new record. It was finished and it got pushed back to January for a whole host of reasons that were all good reasons. And it just made sense to put all our focus on starting January 30th, going out there and really working it this year. And so we didn't want to burn out markets and burn venues and shows on us, last fall when we were going to be hitting it so hard this year. So we played the bare minimum of shows we could play last year and still keep the lights on, knowing that this year we were going to hit it twice as hard and make it up. And, and there was a little consternation among the accountants about where that left us coming into the holidays last year. Last year, there wasn't a Christmas bonus last year, and it was a lean time, and we were always like, well, we're going to get through it. And one of the ideas was like, well, y'all can make more money if you start doing more meet and greets. So we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe this year's the year that we'll maybe do a little more of that kind of thing.
Well, you're kind of the anti-VIP band, It's like who's the VIP among truckers fans?
Right. And and I mean, I love interacting with fans, and I'm a social type person, but I can't say that speaking for everyone in my band. I mean, I'm sort of that guy in the band that is better equipped for that end of it. And without naming names, we could say that I might have a partner or two that aren't.
Yeah.
And I loved the Rush documentary where Neil Peart refused to do any of the meet and greet stuff. It was pretty great. But
it's pretty noticeable in that band if somebody's not there.
Yeah, so we have our own Neil Peart, or two. But so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that all of that end is going to be, it's all the great unknown now.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the new record. Everybody needs to get this new record. It's very powerful. It's a dark record. It's called The Unraveling. And you recorded it in Memphis, right?
Yeah.
For the most part?
Yeah, most of it. And
Sam Phillips Recording Service. How'd that come about? That's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, it was amazing. we've always wanted to make a record in Memphis, and we on the last album on American Band, we brought in an outside another. We've worked with David Barbie over and over and over and over, and we wanted to keep on working with David Barbie because he's part of our family. He's part of the team, but we wanted to bring in. We thought it was a good time to maybe bring in some new blood too, and have maybe a new set of ears come in with some new ideas and kind of push us a little outside of a few boxes. And so we brought in Matt Ross Spang, and we recorded the last record, American Band, in Nashville. And Matt was our engineer on it, and we loved working with him. And he and Barbie just clicked, and it was a lot of fun. So we wanted to work with him again. Well, he's working now out of Sam Phillips in Memphis. And so we've always talked about wanting to record in Memphis. It's like, well, shit, let's go do it there at Matt's place. And then it just ended up being, I mean, so far beyond our best hopes. The place itself is just amazing. And it's like a time machine. And in the best of ways, 1962 with a little bit of 68 and a little bit of maybe early 70s thrown in as far as the gear and the design of it. And Sam Phillips designed and built those echo chambers himself. He had 3 different echo chambers built into the building of different sizes. And so they restored them all to like they were intended to be. So we're like running stuff through those and getting just some killer sounds. And Jerry Phillips was there every day, kind of holding court, and that was amazing. And just a great time. And then Mick Jagger ended up showing up one day, and with Peter Guralnick, and I mean, it was we've made a lot of records, and I've never had an experience like making that one. And we did the whole thing in about 7 days, and but they were long days. I mean, we were putting in just crazy long days, and then crawling back to the Airbnb that we rented, sleeping like a coma sleep, and then getting up and immediately going straight back and doing it the next day. And so we ended up tracking 18 songs in 7 days. And
damn.
And we put 11 on the album. I think it's 11 or whatever it is, something like that. And is it 9? Maybe it's 9. I don't know. Whatever's on the record.
And then you added another one.
Yeah.
Right.
And, something like that. And
but you can hear it. It sounds. Yeah. I mean, I remember listening to it, and it's obviously what you guys do, but it does sound produced in a positive way, right?
Yeah.
It really has a sound to it, a good retro rock production sound to it that I really like.
I'm real proud of it. I mean, I think it's definitely one of our best works, and in the fact that so much of it is kind of some new terrain for us sonically, and I think just the way the band played was so good on it too. Everybody really played well and sang well, and it's a good bunch of songs. It's a dark record, and I went through a lot of like self-doubt about that aspect, because these are kind of some, even before all of this has happened now, some crazy dark times. And it's like, God, do we really want to put out a record that's this? But it felt honest, felt like where we were, and it's like, well, let's put this one out, and then maybe the next one will be a little different, more uplifting, a little more, a little more of that other kind of record that we know how to do. And so that was kind of the plan. And then everything's kind of on hold now, but I am super, super proud of the record. And we were really, when we came time to actually take that record on the road and build a live show out of it, we were all kind of taken aback by how powerful it became live. It was a really, this was going to be a really special tour. From a band that's done a lot of tours, there was something really special happening out there with this show. And and I think the people who came to the shows in February will attest to that they were some really powerful shows. And so it's been weird just having to then just put it all on hold indefinitely. But
well, it is dark. It's dark even by DBT standards, which isn't exactly rainbows and unicorns most of the time. But that's
which is
why
the name of the next album, by the way, Rainbows and Unicorns. But
I can't wait. Well, with that in mind, though, when I saw that you had the new song, Quarantine Together, I was expecting something in that vein, which was I have to say pleasantly surprised. It's a warm,
it's the happiest sounding
fuzzy
song. It's the happiest sounding damn song probably since Nine Bullets. It's funny. Yeah. It is. And when I wrote it, I was kind of taken aback by that. I wrote it super quick. It was the first week of the quarantine for us. And so we had all just gotten home and we were, we'd been holed up at the house for several days, and we went out, took the kids and the dog on a long neighborhood walk. And I came back from that walk and wrote that song in 10 minutes. And then recorded it myself up here in my attic room, and then sent my track to the band, and they all added their own tracks on their phones. Everybody, like our Brad recorded his drum part on he took his phone and he put it in he likes to wear a robe when he's at the house. He has a robe he wears, and he put it in the pocket of his robe and sat there and listened on a different phone on a pair of headphones to what I'd recorded and played along, recording that on his phone. And that's the drum sound. And it sounds great,
It does sound great.
Everybody sent their parts to Barbie, and Barbie put it all together. And then we did the video the same way. There's a video floating around for it that please check it out. And where everybody, and in some cases, like my daughter filmed my part, and it has our dog in it, and her bearded dragon is in it. And
I noticed the lizard.
So we have everybody did it. And then a friend of mine here in Portland, Eric Goltz, who actually took the photograph that's on the album cover of The Unraveling, and he put the video together for us, and all of that came out, and it is such a kind of happy sounding song, and I'm proud of that. I'm probably as proud of that as anything, just because I feel like that should be part of our job, is to provide some kind of joy and uplift, and so I'm glad we were able to put out a happy song about such a horrific event.
It's probably the happiest pandemic song I've ever heard.
I think it is. I'll take that. Put that on my tombstone.
He wrote a hell of a pandemic.
He wrote a hell of a pandemic song.
You're, no matter what, you're, as far as I can tell, a very prolific writer in any kind of circumstances, on the road, in hotel rooms, sound checks, whatever. You write in all kind of situations. So as a writer, this would seem to be a good scenario for you. Has that been the case? Have you been able to write a lot? It's the opposite.
No, that first week when I first got back, I wrote all week, and it's like I was home, unscheduled time at home, and I had this this room that I'm in, our attic. It's like brand new. We just I basically started moving into it when I got home for the quarantine, and because our house has been under construction forever, and so I was up here, and it's like, oh man, I'm gonna I'm unscheduled off for the next couple of months. I'm just going to write and write and write. And I was like pulling out old songs that were unfinished that I've been working on that never worked. And I was finishing stuff and got excited. And then I wrote the quarantine song. It's like, oh man, I'm on a roll. And then I hit the wall and haven't written a damn thing since. It's been 2 months, and nothing. So I'm hoping I can overcome that and start writing again, though. I feel like I might be able to pretty soon. I've had a lot of other stuff I've been working on because I've been working on trying to start doing these shows up here. I did my second one last night, and we should probably talk about that since that's my new job. And so I've been doing that. I've been very immersed in a lot of tech hell, trying to get this end of things, the tech end of things, up and running enough to where I can do shows up here and transmit them out to people who would want to see it, and have it not sound like ass. Because, I've really enjoyed watching a lot of people's live shows from their living rooms, but a lot of them have sounded really bad. And I still have enjoyed seeing people that I love play and perform, but I wanted it to sound better when I did it than some of them have. And of course, I think everybody's figuring out how to do it as we go too. But the first couple things I did when I played on a couple things, via Zoom or whatever, I would see the playback and I was just like, oh my God, I can't sound like that. It's like, so I've been working on overcoming that. And so now that I've kind of got that situated, I'm hoping I can do more writing.
Well, how did it go in terms of just playing the song? I mean, for you, was it rewarding, and did you enjoy it?
Sure.
Last
Yeah.
night?
Yeah, I did my first one last week on Wednesday, whatever a week ago Wednesday was. And I'm doing kind of themed shows. I've got a lot of songs, and I tend to write kind of conceptually anyway when I'm working on a project. And so I thought it'd be fun to kind of make these shows have a theme to them. So the first week was a pretty loose theme, but it was basically the songs I put together for that list were all kind of based on either the way I was feeling or the way I was wanting to feel, and trying to kind of conjure that together. And then last night's show was an all request show. So we set up an email address for people to send in their requests when they bought tickets. And I had over 150 requests to go through, and I put together about a little over 2-hour show that I did up here last night, all based on those requests. And then I'm already working on the next show, which will be in 2 weeks, and it'll be on the 27th of May on a Wednesday. And they're all going out over Noon Chorus, which has been doing a really good job with the tech stuff. And so they're the ones who broadcasted and do that end of it. And they've been great to work with, and been really, really great to work with. And I've been real happy with the quality of the sound and their support for people who buy a ticket and are having a problem. And they've been really hands-on on every level in the best of ways. So the next show, I've got all these songs through the years that I refer to as my family mythology songs. And, based on either stories passed down in the family or things that I've witnessed or whatever like that. And so I'm going to build a show around those songs. And that's something I've wanted to do for like years. I've literally had thought about taking that on the road at times and just never done it. So I'm working on putting that show together for the 27th, which is the day after what would have been my great uncle's 100th birthday, George J. Johnson, that I wrote the Sands of Iwo Jima about and for. So I'm kind of doing it as a 100th birthday celebration for him. He was my great uncle, and he was a big part of raising me. He was very much like another father to me, and way more like a father than an uncle. I I mean, we were super close. So, but I got like Box of Spiders and 18 Wheels of Love and My Sweet Annette and Old Timer's Disease and all these songs that are family folklore, basically. And that's going to be a fun project, and I'm already working on it. So I've got 2 more weeks to really get it together and try to put something together. And I'm also incorporating a little bit of like a spoken word aspect to these shows that I've never really done touring, because I'm up here and it's just it's easier to kind of be in that mode and do it. So, I've got a little book thing I've been working on for a number of years that kind of centers around my songs and songwriting. And so I've been like reading excerpts off of that as a lead in for certain songs and stuff. So I'm going to try to build on that and do more of that in some upcoming shows too.
Well, you're good at that. I mean, some of my favorite moments on albums are the intros, the lengthy intros, whether it's Alabama Icons or 18 Wheels of Love. What about Trains? You've visited that one before.
I can do a show of Train. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I could certainly do that, or at least to just do a show built around the Adams House Cat songs, many of which were Train songs. But because Adams House Cat at one point made a 4-track album that was all Train songs back in the 80s. Boy, we were timely.
Yeah.
You think about the
funny.
80s, you think about Train songs,
Always. That would include the Tornadoes song.
It
right?
did. That was in it. Yep.
See, I have a pornographic memory. I
That's
recollect all that. When you are touring, let's just reminisce a minute. But I think a good time to get people thinking about live. You've toured in every kind of configuration there is. Support, headlining, or as a festival, or indoors, outdoors, all kinds of. If you had a preference for a kind of show to do, what would be your favorite way to play?
Well, I mean, my favorite is a full-on trucker show in one of our favorite rooms. I mean, the last trucker shows we played was a 2-night stand at the 930 Club in DC. And, the thought of that being the last ever show is beyond my comprehension, but I can't think of a better place for the last show to have been, because I love the 930 Club. That place is very near and dear to our hearts. I feel the same way about the Fillmore, which was going to be part of the tour that got canceled in the March tour. We were going to be playing the Fillmore, and I love the Fillmore in San Francisco. I think when they rescheduled it, we ended up with doing 2 nights there, and I don't know. We'll see. But First Avenue, that's a favorite. We're blessed. We play some just amazing rooms. I love playing the Wilma in Missoula. We get to play some of my favorite places. We played the Roundhouse in London last time. That was, God, I mean, Led Zeppelin played there. It's like I was on stage looking around while we were playing, just going, I can't believe I'm up here getting to do this. This is so fucking cool, And that's my favorite. But I mean, I enjoy all this. I mean, I enjoy a fun festival. I enjoy a fun show, whatever. If it's a festival show, if we're open, we toured with Booker T as his backup band. Holy cow, man. That was what a dream come true, and we did Coachella with him. And, so I love it. I love doing my solo tours. They're more intimate, and there's a lot to be said for that. And I've gotten good enough at it now to where I'm comfortable and I have fun doing it. And I've kind of found ways to go deeper in that, than I used to could do. And so that's been good. But at this point though, I'll take any of it. Any of it I can get. I'll play the drive-in. Sure. Find a way to make it sound good. Roll down their windows. You know, smoke a doobie out there. It'll be great.
I believe they would. The noon chorus shows, will they be available for sale in any kind of format and any way to keep that going as an
I don't
entity?
know. I know they're archiving it all. I know it's all being archived. And I know last night's show is still up. It's still available. They're keeping it up for, I think they're saying for 48 hours, which means it's up for another day and a half right now. So if you're watching this and you missed it, and you think you'd like to see, I played some deep cut rarity stuff last night. And some of those requests, I played the title cut from Blessing and a Curse for the first time in 14 years. And
Wow.
And there were several super deep cuts. Did Untold Pretties with the story that the spoken word part. I think I've only done that live twice ever, maybe. Maybe. And so I did that last night. And so so I know we're going to be keeping the shows up for a couple of days now whenever we do them. As far as what'll happen after that, I don't know, but we have made an effort to definitely archive it and keep it so that we'll see.
Well, as a moment in time, and I think it's maybe one day we look back on it and laugh. Remember when you had to do that to just get your live thing going? So hopefully that's the way it is. And it's a complete rarity and not going to happen again.
It'll be a chapter for that book.
You remember that Cream show at Madison Square Garden?
I was talking about that the other day when I knew that this was coming up. I was like, oh yeah.
Well, that was fun, and what a great thing to see an arena show again. Like that, 20,000 people. So what's the secret to a happy ending of this thing we're in right now?
Finding a cure or a vaccine or something, even just a viable treatment to where it's not a death sentence for people with certain pre-existing conditions, and we can't bring John Prine back. And so, I don't want to lose any more people like that. I don't want to. So, finding a way for this to just be, like some people refer to it, more like a flu than what it is right now. That's going to be the happy ending. And I'm sure something will come. I'm sure, there's really smart people working really hard, and I'm sure they'll come up with something. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. I mean, they're saying a vaccine, some are saying, 18 months, but then there's other people saying, we still haven't figured out a HIV vaccine. And that's been decades that they've been working on it. And so we don't know. Viruses are tricky. And so, I don't know.
You like the way I worked that secret to a happy ending thing in there? Very clever. So, look, I appreciate your generosity with your time. It's good to catch up. I hope the next time I see you is at a show.
In person, yeah.
Actually, because I've got a face made for backstage at a festival, not a computer screen. And, but
I'll even give you a hug,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. It'd be like the Bonnaroo hug where you don't actually touch, right?
Yeah.
And it's good to see you, and I hope it all works out, and I hope to see you on the road soon, and best of luck, and thanks for doing this, Patterson.
Man, thank you so much, man. You take care.
All right, take it easy. And out.